fucking live now. Okay. This is fun. We haven't done a live one yet, so let's.
First one live, and I'm not even at home yet. I'm still stuck in London with a breakdown. So all this is purely temporary. I ain't even got my hat either. I'm falling apart,
I'm gonna say I didn't recognize you. You look totally
mate.
different.
I'm like, we're 4 episodes in. I'm crumbling. I've lost a hat. I'm stuck in London. My car's broke down. But anyway, we've got plenty to go through today.
Well, we got some people entering the chat now. I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. We are happy to do this live today because it's a little late in the day. It's already 3 o'clock. So instead of waiting to edit and all this stuff and get it posted at 4 or 5 o'clock, let's just do it now. That way it's up early enough. And plus, I kind of like the chat. The chat gets to weigh in while we're talking about the news. So with that being said, Suki, what is the biggest news of today?
Yeah, well, this actually dropped yesterday, and this is on Fabrico's channel on YouTube. Fabrico is the coach of, well, I mean, training coach of Ramon Dino and Derek Lunsford. He did a video with Good Vito last night. Well, it dropped last night. We all know Good Vito broke in the top 10 of Olympia 2025. He spoke about his admiration to try and break into the top 5 in 2026 Olympia. However, he did give the biggest hint of the show that he will be planning to focus on in 2026. And he talked about Brazil. The word Arnold was dropped in as well. It looks like the big focus for Good Vito next year is 2 shows. One, the Arnold Brazil, win that, qualify for Olympia, and purely focus on just the Olympia. No Pittsburgh, because if you do get the chance to watch the video, he does talk about the fact that the distance after the Arnold Brazil and Pittsburgh didn't do him any favors. He wants to just do the Arnold Brazil, win that, get his qualification, head over to Olympia, and break into the top 5.
Well, I mean, that's what Vito needs to do. I mean, he's smart for doing that because if you look at Vito's physique here, you see the legs are world class. The legs are already on par with the best in the world. His legs are probably better than Derek's or on par with Derek's, Hottie's, Samson's, Andrew's. They're of the best legs in the world. But if you look at the upper body, that's where you see some things kind of falling behind. The delts maybe don't cap off as well. The arms could be a little bit bigger to match when you see them turn to the side. When the arms are down, they don't look as big. The chest needs to be a little bit fuller, especially the lower back. Sorry, not lower back, but lower lats need to come out more in that back double. So that upper body has a lot of work to do to catch up to the lower body. Now, the good thing for Vito is when it does, everybody better look out. Because if he ever gets that upper body to match the lower body, he's up there with the top 5. He's in the top tier of bodybuilding if he can get that upper body to match the lower body. So I think he's making a good decision. It would probably be smarter for him to do Detroit because Detroit is the best lighting in the IFBB, and he would look amazing. But I can understand wanting to do the Arnold Brazil.
So at the moment, he's currently weighing at 135 kilos, and he's given himself a target to try and get to 145. Now, just to give you context as well, what he stated was that he's got 2 more months left of his off season before he starts preparation for the Arnold Brazil. He wants to give himself enough time. Now, I did reach out to Fabrico. I did ask, look, would there be any chance that he might be considering the Arnold Ohio? And the answer was it is too close. It's not enough time. He wants enough time to make the improvements, to make the big splash at the Arnold Brazil, and then give himself enough time for the Olympia.
Well, it's smart. I mean, look, if you keep I'm not going to say it's impossible because there's obviously data to prove otherwise, but anybody, especially at that level, when you get to that level, it's very hard to put on muscle in a deficit. Okay, you can put on muscle in a deficit if you're a beginner. You can put on muscle in a deficit if you're taking a ton of gear and you're not training like super hard. You can't. I'm not going to say you can't. It's very hard to put on any significant amount of mass while in a deficit. And if he was going to get ready for the Arnold, he would have to start dieting probably in about a month. Or it depends, if they're doing 20 weeks, I don't know. But the point is, I think he's making a good decision. Plus, I also think Vito isn't ready to beat Andrew or Derek yet. So if we see Andrew or Derek or Nick, for example, at the Arnold, I don't think Samson's doing it. I don't know for sure. But if we see those, if we don't see those guys, if we see those guys, the Arnold, Vito is not ready to beat them. So if he's looking just to go to the Olympia, he's making the right choice. He's not
Well,
going to win. He's not going to win $1 million. He's not going to get the qualification. And I hate to say that as a matter of fact, but I think most of us can agree that he's not ready to beat someone like Andrew.
so let me throw this to you then. Now, on the episode, he spoke about the fact that look, he got into the top 10. He felt that he probably could deserve a bit better, but now the pure focus for himself is top 5 at the Olympia. What needs to happen if Good Vito does make those improvements and brings an all-time best going into the Olympia 2026? What actually needs to happen on the top end to allow him to break into the top 5? When we think about the names of Derek, Hardy, Samson, Andrew, Martin, there's your big 5 at the moment. What needs to happen for Good Vito to crash that party?
Well, you got to understand that's the, I like to call top tier of bodybuilding, right? Somebody got upset the other day in the comment section because I said Chris was a second tier bodybuilder. Second tier bodybuilder is not an insult. The
Yeah,
top,
okay.
the top tier of bodybuilding, tier 1, in my opinion, is the top 5 or 6 at the Olympia. That's your tier 1. That's it. Everybody else after that, tier 2 is like 6 or 7 through 10 or 12. Then you have like 10 through 15 or 12 through 17, something like that is tier 3. So we're looking at like that. It's a rough thing. It's not, it's not obviously carved in stone, but that's not an insult. But for Vito to get into that top tier is exactly what I said at the beginning of this conversation, which was he's got to build the upper body to meet the lower body. The lower body is so dominant and the upper body is just not there yet. He's got to build the arms, the delts especially, and then the lower lats. When he pulls up that back double bicep, what people don't understand is not every pose is created equal. Your back double bicep and your front double bicep are your 2 most exposing poses. If you have any weaknesses in your body, they're going to be shown in the front double or the back double. And that's where Vito starts to lose a little bit. Amazing front double, right? Back double, you start to see the lower lats, you start to see the arms a little bit. Side shots, you see the delts a little bit need to come up. So those are things he needs to do. But when he does, he's got the tools and he's young enough to do it. I don't know if that's this year because 2 months of time, if you're talking like, rationally, 2 months of time is like maybe 2 pounds of muscle, 3 pounds of muscle, maybe which is a lot of muscle. I mean, it's going to look like a lot, but I don't know if he's going to be ready to break into that top 5 this year. I don't know
I
if that's a thing.
I don't see it. I see that top 5, the gap between that top 5 and then 6th and 7th place, I think is far bigger. And it's closer when you look at 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th. I think for Gavito, the opportunity to break into maybe 6th place, which is a key one, because we look at the people around it, they're the ones where, look, we've seen Nick Walker. He didn't bring his best at the Olympia. You put your finger up, but let me finish what I'm saying. I see Good Vito, the best opportunity for him in 2026 Olympia, if he nails everything, and we've seen as well, time after time, that gap between 6th and 10th and 12th are the period where a lot of guys do drop the ball. We've seen it every year at Olympia. That's where I could see the best chance Good Vito could get is to take 6th place, but that's reliant on the pattern, the history of people missing the boat each year.
Where was Vito this year?
Was he
11?
10th? Was he 9th or 10th?
I think he was 10 or 11. I can't remember. Anyway, you got to understand something. 6 is Nick Walker, right? 7 is Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry is not showing any signs of slowing down, right? And then you have to also accept that maybe Brandon is going to stay the same, but all the other guys are only getting better. Like everybody in that top 6 group, except maybe Hottie, they're all going to get better. Samson's going to come back in a bigger version of, he's 2024 look. So that's going to be better. Nick is going to come back. He's going to want to improve on the miss that he made this year. And he's not going to obviously come in off. Hopefully he's going to want to correct that error that he made. Martin is steadily improving every single year. Andrew is steadily improving every single year. So even if Vito improves, that top tier is also improving. Those aren't a bunch of old guys slowing down. Those are all still young. Like Derek is 32 years old. So Derek is still in his prime. So for him to break into that top 6, he has to make a leap bigger than the rest of them, which I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
And that's why I'm saying the reliance is that for him to take 6th place, there has to be the guys ahead of him. Some of them may have to just miss it. We saw Nick miss it. That's why Martin went above him.
Yes.
William Bonac, I believe that after he dropped a place as well. Yes, Brandon's still there as well, but he is getting older. Antonio did drop a few places down from 2024. So the opportunity is there. But once again, I think we need to give good VITO, like you said, a couple more years where he's not reliant on people above him to actually miss the mark. 2026, that will have to be the case if he does want to take those top placings. I've only got him as high as potentially 6. I don't have him at top 5 right now. That top 5 speaks for itself. But look, yes, I'm good. I'm not going to see him at the Arnold's, but it makes perfect sense. If that's the game plan, that he wants to bring an all-time best Olympia, but he's doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. He's got the right plan. But just touch on your Olympia placing thing for 1 second. It's interesting because the gap, the second tier of bodybuilding right now is in that phase. You have William Bonac and Brandon Curry. They're kind of like, they're still good. They're still very, very good. But they are in that age group now where they're like, any year now, you might see them start to fade. So you don't know when it's going to happen. They've been showing everybody that they're not slowing down so far. So who knows? But then you also have Tonio, who's also only getting better. Like he was 7th or 8th, he was 8th this year. I don't know. Vito's got an uphill battle. Like he's really got to make, he has to make, this is the thing for him. Like you said, somebody's got to miss, but he also has to make more improvements than the rest of these guys if he wants to jump ahead. Like there's a lot of, I don't know, it's tricky, but you know what, those two guys, like I said, Brandon and William, if they start to slip, it'll leave room for people like Urs, people like good Vito. It's going to be really interesting. But yes, he's definitely got a good plan for next.
Well, let's look closer because I'm looking at 2026. Let me bring it back to 2025 because next week we got the Japan Pro and a few more names have dropped in the race because there is an argument that this could be more the easier shows to try and secure your Olympic qualification. When I say easier, I mean, when we look at the lineups, this might be a little bit different. But look, we already know James Hollister's doing the show. We always see in the pictures. What's dropped earlier today, one of them, we kind of always knew it was going to be the case. We'll wait and see if it was Big Man or Japan. But it is, of course, MARC HECTOR. MARC is making his first pro show with his new coach, Patrick Tuor, who's obviously just dropped this update. So we're now a week away from the Japan show. And, I mean, there's got to be an argument that obviously we know MARC is going to be pushing for that top place. What is your thoughts of maybe some of have we seen enough improvements made from MARC since splitting with his previous coach and going now with Patrick?
Okay, so if the two main guys are Mark and James,
as it stands right now, yes.
If those are the two main guys, it's going to be interesting because now you have a battle of shape versus size, right? Like Mark obviously is the very pretty shape, small waist, wide shoulders, great back. So he's got James in one area. James's weak side is probably the back. His abs are a little washed out. That's probably James. Those are James's two main weak points. Mark has got a great back. It's very wide and that back and the back lat spread, very thick in the back double bicep. So he's going to have the back shots on James, in my opinion. Front shots, it's going to depend on James's condition. If James can come in proper condition and really peak well, he's got a lot of size and he's hard to beat when he nails it. The thing is, this condition that Mark is in, I don't know the last time I saw him like this. And Patrick is, when Patrick dials somebody in well, they look really, really good. I don't know. Honestly, like, I love James, but I almost feel like if Patrick is peaking Mark is going to walk away with that show, and it's probably going to be the best Mark we've seen. The only thing I would say about Mark is the right shoulder, I believe. I don't know if he has had an injury or something there. He has trouble posing sometimes in certain ways with that right shoulder. That can hurt you. So these guys are close. Like all I'm saying is Mark and James are very close, and it's apples and oranges, and it's going to come down to I think who peaks the best that day.
Look, another name I want to throw in there as well because this guy, yeah, he competed on the weekend over Romania. It is the cousin of Behruz Tabani. I apologize to all the Iranian fans if I'm saying the name incorrectly. I believe is it Meza? Meza, apologies if I'm getting the name wrong. So I might have to just keep referring him as a cousin of Behruz. But he did confirm to me earlier today, and he did drop the post about 8 hours ago, that he is doing the Japan show. So I don't know if you could grab a picture of him there.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Mazahar. I don't know. I'm Arab. I should be able to say it, but I don't know how to say it. So I apologize to my fellow.
There's a more recent video you posted than this one, which is August 29th. If you just go down and then skip the one I posted, there we go, the middle one here. This is the most recent one.
Yeah, I don't know if he has enough to beat James or Mark. He's pretty good, but he just still needs a little bit more. The lower body could use a little bit more to catch up to the upper body, but he's still just a little bit thin overall. Like I'd like to see more thickness if he's going to be able to compete with somebody like James or Mark. But the tools are all there. Like he's got great shape. Do you know if Damien Cuffle's doing Japan?
Oh, mate, you literally just read mine because I was about to talk about him in a moment. If you want to bring up his profile as well, because I spoke to him earlier today, and he is thinking not about Japan, but he's umming and ahhing about Alicante. It's a big man weekend. That's a show that he is considering. Now, let's not, for those guys who aren't, too in the know about Damon. The guy got his pro card in classic physique.
Do you know how to spell his name?
Oh no, there we go. It's a Scion one.
Sorry?
You literally just had it a moment ago. Where is it? His profile is, oh, there we go.
Oh, there it is, Cyan.
There it is, yeah. So he's already taken, what's he taken so far? He's competed 3 times this year.
Third at the last show.
Third at the last show.
Romania.
He's been over in Poland, and he's been over once. Oh God, I can't remember what was the other show, but it's been 3 shows so far. I mean, there was a very strong argument. I mean, from different sections that maybe he could have taken second place, but at the moment, his focus on if he's going to do one more show and he's 50-50 about it, he is considering the Alicante show, the big man, which is the week after the Japan show.
I love this guy's physique. Great delts, great back, super thick, very long and aesthetic looking, like kind of like an Andrew almost. He's got that really, really nice shape. And yeah, I mean, you can see it came from classic, right? But as he's grown, he hasn't ruined his lines at all. I think a little bit of help with posing, a little bit more hamstrings. This guy could be very, very good, and he's got great quads, great chest, great delts. I don't know if I see him ahead of Joan here, but I remember seeing him in Prague for the first time, and I don't know who. I think Giles was doing the announcing. They were talking about him coming from classic, and I was like,
2023.
Yeah, yep. That's a phenomenal physique. He's really grown well, and I think he should take some time off after these showings and just keep packing on the mass. I think he can shock a lot of people next year if he puts on a little bit more muscle. But very, very impressive. In Japan, I would probably put him in third out of the guys we've talked about so far. I see him ahead of Tabani, but that's interesting.
The real question at the moment, and I know we spoke about this in a previous episode, which was about Joan. Like, will he or will he not do Japan? There were obviously other rumors that he is. He has put a recent YouTube video to say that it's not fully confirmed. But of course, if he wants to do the show, then we are literally looking at a proper triple threat of Joan versus James versus Mark. And I guess, look, we've spoken about this already. I want to throw it back to yourself. They all have their own strengths. Where would you lean with those 3? We've seen what Joan brought in Romania. We know what James Mark could bring at the moment. I mean, that's a good triple threat for that Japan show.
Somebody said in a previous comment section that Joan beat James at the British Grand Prix. Is that true? Because I don't remember that.
I can't remember if James came. I'm sure Joanne came fifth in that show, and James came fourth.
Yeah, I don't remember how that went down, but it doesn't matter anyway. I don't think James has really found his peak yet. I think he's only starting to like figure it out now, which sounds funny. He's been competing so long. I don't mean figure it out now over the course of his whole career. I mean this year. I don't think he's dialed in his best yet. Um, I do think that's going to come in Japan. He looks very, very good in his pre-show pictures. I personally think right now the best James, like peaked perfectly, can still beat Joanne. But the question is, can he peak perfectly? But the thing is, Joanne is not perfect either when he peaks. Like he's still soft in the back, still needs a little bit of work to get that really, really fine condition.
We know he's going to
Um,
be beaten on condition. Yeah, we know
yeah.
that. We know about it. This will be his fifth show of the season. His rookie season as well. He's clearly not
Somebody,
experienced.
sorry to interrupt you, Suki. Somebody just commented, Joanne was third and James was fifth at the British
Oh,
Grand Prix.
okay, apologies. All right, good.
But again, I don't know if that is like we should just take that as okay, well, that's going to happen again because peaks matter. The thing is, Joan was probably not perfect at the British Grand Prix either. I have yet to see him like with perfect conditions. So maybe that does mean Joan's going to beat James. This is a really, honestly, man, this is a really tough one to predict. These three guys, Mark Hector, James, and Joan, are all very good, and they're all a little bit different. So I'm almost going to step back from predicting this one for now until I have some time to think about it.
Who has a high ceiling out of the three?
Oh, Joan, no doubt. Look, I've already said in previous podcasts that I believe Joan has the potential to be a Mr. Olympia in 5 years time maybe, and that's based on bone structure, muscularity, how his package is all put together. Um, James, we kind of know what James brings and who he is. So I don't know if the ceiling is much higher than, he can probably still win some shows. I don't know where his highest ceiling is though, but I don't know if it's much higher than what we've already seen. Mark Hector, I think still has a ways to go before we know where his best is. It's if he can make it happen. Joan though is the youngest one that still seems hungry, that still has it all in front of him. So to that question, I would say Joan has the highest ceiling or the most room to improve and to get the furthest out of the three of them.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, I really do believe that he has the full package. He's got age on his side. You know, on a social media point of view, and the personality, the character, his fan base, and the continual improvements he's making. And yes, people talk about condition that will come. We know that will come in time, but nobody can deny that the potential is absolutely huge for this young man. And if he does go and do Japan, if he does do Japan, I would have him as arguably probably the favorite to take the title based off the current running of how he's been performing. Now but I will say as well, this will be the tightest show he's done so far. I mean, it was
Yep.
very tight between him and Andrea. Andrea's condition just and size beat him there, but I would say definitely all the each person there as well. When we talk about top three, they all have areas where they can be exposed by somebody else, and
Yep.
that's what makes this one very interesting. I really hope that Joanne does this show. Obviously, I hope we should know in the next few days when
Yep.
the list does come out.
I see somebody in the chat. Muscle Insight actually says Sean Clarita and Stuart Sutherland are in for Japan.
Sean Clarida, yes, that is right as well.
That's
Obviously,
that's an interesting one right there. 'Cause Sean, with John Jewett coaching Sean, we've seen a new Sean, a resurgence that is very, very good. If I'm just going to say this, any of the three that we mentioned, if they're off, Sean will beat them. And Joan, even though he's much bigger than Sean, he's missing quite a bit from the back as far as hamstrings goes. Posing could be a little bit better. his condition's not necessarily 100% bang on. Sean is a former Mr. Olympia, and he has that package, and he's figured out how to make it come alive again. Same thing with Mark Hector. If Mark Hector's off, Patrick doesn't bring him in perfect. James misses anything. I think Sean couldn't beat any of the three if they miss the mark at all.
Did Sean come third in Mexico when the Antonio and Regan competed there? I think he came third, didn't he?
I believe
Antonio
so.
won, Regan came second.
I believe so. I don't remember for sure. But listen, I'm not saying Sean can beat all three of them. I'm saying if they're off, if any of the three of those guys miss the mark at all, Sean will. So, Stuart Sutherland, I don't know. He's been off for quite a while, so he might come in fresh. I don't know where that package fits. To me personally, he's probably more like fourth, fifth in that lineup. But I don't know. Stu's been off for a while, so he might have made some big changes.
Look, away from Japan, I think we have to bring this picture up because this does throw the question, are we going to see him at the Arnold's? And this is, of course, Nick Walker dropping the update today of how he's currently looking. And look, I remember he was on with yourself. He mentioned about that he will be looking at an earlier show. You did try down the carrot of Detroit. Surely we are talking about Nick Walker doing the Arnold's, right? 750 grand. We imagine Derek Hardy, and as you say, Samson probably not going to be doing it, which means we could be looking at Martin versus Andrew. And if you throw Nick Walker in there, then you've got this box office triple threat. And we're looking at this. Surely we're going to see Nick at the Arnold's, right?
I mean, I think Nick would be crazy not to do the Arnold. I think he's got something to prove. I think, what's funny about bodybuilding is you're only as good as your last show, right? That's kind of how it works. Like most people, they see somebody like Nick and they're like, oh, well, they write him off. I wouldn't write off Nick, man. He missed the mark a little bit at the Olympia. Well, not a little bit, but he missed the mark quite a bit at the Olympia. But that Pittsburgh look that Nick brought, I know he doesn't think it was his best, and maybe it wasn't. Like I don't necessarily dispute that, but even that look, even though he doesn't think it's best, is still in the top tier of bodybuilding. It beats any of those top four guys. They can still all trade places on any given day. Is all I'm trying to say. Nick is not I wouldn't count this person out at all, and I think Nick, if you're listening, do the fucking Arnold. Do the fucking Arnold, win the show, and then do Detroit and win that show too. But no, I do. Listen, Detroit aside and joking aside, I think it's great. I think, look, what are you going to do? Why would you not do it? Let's think of it this way. Why would you not do it? Because you don't have to put on any more muscle, right? The only reason you might not do it is if maybe your Olympia prep was long and you're a little bit burnt out and you need to take a break. That I could see. Nick's kind of like a fucking machine though. He doesn't really get burnt out. And his physique in these pictures looks fresh. So if I'm Nick, I'm like, fuck this. I'm already big enough to beat anybody in the world.
He's beaten Martin before. He's beaten Andrew before. We're not talking about the fact that we got a Hardy confirmed or a Derek confirmed. Nick, what Nick brought at Pittsburgh, what Andrew brought at Romania, and what Martin brought at Prague. Which physique takes that Arnold title?
Don't fucking do that to me.
In my eyes, I'm not going to sit on the fence. In my eyes, I get Nick that he probably felt that there was a previous physique in 2021 that was his best one yet. That look at Pittsburgh just blew my mind, and if he brought that, I find it very difficult for someone to beat that look at the Arnold's, even if Andrew brought what he brought to Romania. There's still obviously areas we know we need to improve, and Martin still look absolutely fucking phenomenal at Prague. It's close, but I am slightly leaning to Nick.
I think I agree with you. Suki, if you think of it, let's line them up, right? I think Andrew, as beautiful as his physique is, if we're going to go shot for shot, which it's not always the rule, like that doesn't, it's not always the way you judge. But if you're going shot for shot, Nick beats both guys on side shots and back shots. So now let's give them the front shots. You're still up 4-3, right? You're up 4-3 in shots. Now it's the overall look. Well, Nick, when he's at his best, his condition is equally as good as Martin's and better than Andrew's, right? Then you look at muscularity. Okay, well, he's more muscular than both. He's losing the shape battle to Martin and Andrew, right? So now you got to go, okay, well, we've looked at everything. He's more muscular. He's equally as conditioned or more conditioned, and he's winning 4 out of the 7 poses. It's hard not to make an argument for him to win if he's at his best, and it's a fucking $1 million. Do the show, like, do the fucking show and win him. It's $1 million. Like, what are we talking about here? It's not like, I don't know why you would skip it, to be honest. So that's kind of my take on it. I hope he does. And I think the fans want to see it. Like, think about it. You're creating, there's so much buzz. You have a chance to come back. You have a chance. It's a comeback story from the Olympia. You have a chance to do it, whether it's on your own or with a new coach. You have a chance to get back at some of your rivals that beat you, like Martin. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense for all 3 of them to do it,
And I see all 3 being vocal about it, that they feel that they'll be saying they're going to win in Arnold. I mean, geez, Andrew Jack has always said that he's going to win the Olympia in 2026. Yeah. Nick has never once shy away to say he's going to take a title, and Martin's never been more confident. The guy is on the right wave right now. He's feeling that he's going to take the title. So those 3 talking as well, leading to the Arnolds. I mean, that is box office. And like I said, yeah, I do hope that we do see Nick walk. And as you say, why would you not when you got 750 grand on the line?
750 or it's $1 million?
750 for US and then 250 over UK. That combines to 1 million.
Oh, I thought it was $1 million at the US.
Now you gotta do both to get $1 million.
You gotta do both. Well, you might as well just fucking do Detroit on the way, right? All 3 of you. All 3 of you just jump into Detroit, pick it up. I mean, listen, to be honest with you, any of the 3 of them, if let's say they're all doing it. I don't think Andrew placed 3rd at the Olympia, right?
Yes.
So I think the top 3 qualify for the following year.
Yeah.
So he's already qualified, and he just won Romania, so he's already qualified.
Yep.
Actually, the only one that would make sense for is Nick then, because Martin's already qualified. So if Nick doesn't win the Arnold and he does it, it would make sense for him to do Detroit just to pick up the qualification.
Exactly.
So basically, I should just hope that Nick doesn't win. I'm just joking. Anyways, look, it's awesome, man. I love bodybuilding right now. It's going to be so good. Nick, you got to do the Arnold. It's going to be so exciting for everybody to see you up there with Martin and Andrew and whoever else is competing. It's going to be an awesome show. Hey, James is in the chat. James Hollingshead, how are you, sir? It's nice to hear from you. Would you like me to send you a link? Anyway, what other news we got?
Look, I want to give this guy a shout out. We're going to look on Classic Physique because he's had a fantastic year. His name is Tommy Slav. He's a very upcoming European Classic Physique competitor. Let me give you his name. So Tommy, Tomi Slav, SLAV.
Tomi
SLAV. I'll give a little backstory about this kid. So,
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I got the right guy before you get into the story. Just this the right guy?
Yes, that's him.
Oh, he
Perfect.
was second. He was second in Romania.
Exactly. Yeah. He won his pro debut over in Poland, I believe. That was his pro debut. Won the show, and then he came second. He got his pro card last year. Won his pro debut. Went over to Romania. Came second. Beat a number of Olympians, including Nagy and Peter. Pushed Hosemer, but really Hosemer did take the win, convincingly. But this guy here is very much like the next big thing as well here in Europe. He's proved it here by taking a second in Romania behind Hosemer in only his second pro show. Now, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. I was speaking to him earlier today that he's going into his off season because there were still a couple more shows here in Europe, in Spain, Madrid, and Austria. But I think they're the only last two shows in Europe offering pro class physique. And if he did win both, he goes over to Olympia. And I would have said this guy is going in as a favourite, given the fact that he's already got a win already. So he has to get one more win, and he's off to Olympia. And he could spend all of next year focusing on making his improvements and come back at Olympia 2026. But he is definitely one to watch for 2026.
He's got very, very good presentation. Like, not only is his physique very balanced, the way he poses is actually very crisp and clean. He presents his physique very, very well. Yeah, he's great. Like, look at, there's nothing missing. Just everywhere, everything, every muscle is. Yeah, this is a very, very good physique.
But it was obviously it was a major win for himself to get that final call out for him against Hosmer.
Yeah,
Like I said, given the fact that he had to overcome, I think there was like four of the Olympians behind him.
yeah.
So to take them out and get that second place gives them a great foundation to build going into 2026. And like I said, he's already got one pro win under his belt under the new rules to qualify for next year's Olympia. So he only needs one more to get that ticket.
Look at this physique. Look at the legs flowing into a tiny waist. Look at the presentation here. Watch. Legs perfect, chest perfect, shoulders perfect. Everything's like set.
Yeah,
Back shot.
beautiful,
Look at that. Lats
beautiful.
strided. Yeah, wow. This is incredible. Okay.
So yeah, look forward to seeing him. Okay, I'm gonna touch on a female category for a moment, but it's
Yeah,
gonna lead on to a bigger question that
it's okay.
I really want to throw to you guys.
I got to say something before you do this.
Go on.
I think I like touching on the female categories. I think it's important, and I think we should keep doing it. And I think I would like more females to watch Fouad Abiad media, so I don't think we should shy away from it at all. Okay, go on. What's what you're gonna say?
I just want to touch on that as well. After that first episode, I must have had about 30 odd DMs
Yeah.
from females saying that they are long-term watchers of your channel and
No.
how they appreciate to have a moment to talk about a female, even if it was for a moment. So
No.
like, obviously, I'm glad that we are getting that kind of response. But look, what I was going to touch on is the wellness. Isa Pereira, the
Okay.
winner of 2024 Wellness, came second at this year's. Now she's confirmed to take all of next year off to focus purely on Olympia 2026. Now, of course, we saw her compete at the Arnold, having already been the Olympia champion in 2025, lost to Eduarda, and then went on to Olympia 25, and unfortunately lost to Eduarda again. So Eduarda took the Arnold's and the Olympia title in the same year. Now, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up.
Mm.
Because this year, we saw Isa, the world champion 2024. She went to do the Arnold's. She lost. Samson Dowda, he was the Olympia champion. He went on to do the Arnold's.
Yeah.
A few months later, he lost as well. What are your thoughts of like it's very rare that we see an Olympia champion then go straight back into prep for the Arnold's and take the win. I mean, look, also, I want to say this as well. At this year's Arnold's, Mike Sommerfeld, he won the class of physique. He went to do the Olympia, came second.
Yeah.
Dino missed it, focused purely on Olympia, got the win.
Mm-hmm.
Men's physique, Ali Bilal won the Arnold's.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Ryan Terry didn't do it. Went over to the Olympia, came second.
Right.
Jacqueline Baker in women's fitness
Yeah.
won the Arnold, second in Olympia. Is that a clear pattern that by doing the Arnold you are risking the Olympia?
I mean, look. The old saying is always like, take time, take a break, don't do too much, just get ready for the Olympia, and make that your focal point. That's not the problem right now. The problem right now is the competition is literally the toughest I've seen it in 30 years of following bodybuilding. Because just after, just when I started following bodybuilding was the start of Ronnie's reign of terror over the entire IFBB. Before that, Dorian was dominant. But everybody after Dorian, and even sometimes with Dorian, there was a lot of competition, right? Between Sean and Kevin, Flex, Chris Cormier, all these guys. There was a lot of competition between them, but Dorian was on top. The point I'm trying to make is all throughout my 30 years of following bodybuilding, 25 years of following bodybuilding, there has always been a clear champion. That's kind of like, we talk about tiers. That's maybe just a step above, right? That Ronnie was just too much for everybody else. Phil was just too much for everybody else. Dorian, same thing. Ever since Phil lost, we haven't really had a dominant champion, right? You had Rami win a couple, you had Hottie win, Derek Sampson, Brandon Curry, Sean Roden, all of them. Like we just kind of start bouncing around. And I think that's going to continue. Because look, even if Sampson comes back better this year and regains his title, Derek's going to continue to get better. Andrew is going to continue to they're all going to continue to get better. These guys are going to flip flop depending on their peaks. And in that regard, what you're saying makes sense because, the old saying is if you compete early in the year, you're going to be tired later in the year. I don't really believe that. I think these guys are they're just flip flopping depending on how they look on that day. And I think the same goes for wellness. Like when you look at wellness, there's clearly like 2 or 3 girls that are just kind of like above everybody else.
Yeah.
And those 2 or 3 girls are going to always flip flop. So I personally don't think, like if Ali Bilal didn't do the Arnold, I still don't think he would have beat Ryan Terry. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that?
It would have given more time to make the significant improvements on his back, which at the moment, if you're looking for top 5 in men's physique, you would say he's 5th place when it comes from the rear, and that's always been the area that he needs to improve on. I think that if he didn't do the Arnolds, it would have given plenty more time to make that improvement because he was too far behind. For him to go from 5th place at the back to beat Ryan first is not possible.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that matters. I think for guys like when we talk about VITO, right? VITO needs to make these big adjustments, these big changes. He needs to put on all this muscle in his upper body. In that regard, yeah, don't compete. Take your time, build the muscle, right? But when you talk about these other guys, like when we're talking about Derek, Sampson, Hottie, Andrew, there is not a ton of improvements to be made. We're talking about who peaked the best that day, right? So I think it's best to compete. Like Nick, like how big is Nick gonna fucking get? You know what I mean? Like Nick, it's like, can you peak 2 or 3 times in a year? That's all that matters. Because I don't know how much, like Nick doesn't have that many improvements to make. What's he gonna do? Get bigger arms? So I don't know. The only time I think that matters personally is if you have a lot of improvements to make. Yes, sit out, take a break, do what you got to do. But I think for a lot of these guys in the very top tier and some of the women too that I do know of, there's not much to improve on. You're already like kind of awesome. You just have to like peak right on the day.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, it's like I said, if I'm looking up for data of the last couple of years of seeing where has people slipped. And yes, there's an exception to the rule, which of course has been Derek Lunsford this year. But when we look at the data, it really does show there is a significant pattern. But at the same time, I'm going to be contradicting myself here because I'm a big fan of the guys that are choosing to compete on a regular basis. I mean, geez, Nick Walker did 3 shows last year. If you look at the top tier pros, I think pretty much all of them did, a bar Hardy, a maximum 3 shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Jack, Romania, Olympia, FIBO, he was at the Island, wasn't he? Yeah,
yeah. But one thing that maybe you are right about is they do miss one. Like Andrew was not good in FIBO. Like he was way off, right? So at least he picked the right one to be off on. So I don't know. Maybe I don't like to think that way. I like to think that a guy can peak 2 times in 1 year. But maybe you're right. Maybe the data is saying otherwise. I don't know. I don't want to put that out there because I don't want guys to compete less. We want to see these guys at as many shows as possible throughout the year. You know what I mean?
100%.
And plus, you guys, there's one other thing I want to add to this. You have to also remember that at that top level, these people have a lot of engagements outside of competing. So if somebody looked great at the Arnold and then didn't look great at the Olympia, it doesn't necessarily mean it was because of the Arnold. It might be that they traveled 18 times throughout the year, right? And then that maybe hindered them in some way. Or, they had a lot of guest appearances, or they had a lot of like whatever. There's other things factored in through that year when you're at the top of the fucking sport and you're a superstar, because you have all these other things to do. So you might say, hey, you can compete at the Arnold and the Olympia, but you got to sit out and not travel so much. Like if you're, like Nick Walker doesn't take all the engagements that he get thrown at him because he wants to sit out and keep improving. So I don't know. I just want to say that there's other factors involved with that equation.
Before we wrap up, I want to finish on this one thing. I've heard a lot of talk now about the Olympia date for 2026. Have you heard the same thing I've been hearing, that it's looking likely that potentially it's going to be the last weekend of September?
I haven't heard, but I think September is the best time for the Olympia because gives it enough time post Olympia for the 2026 qualifiers,
Yes.
right?
My thoughts exactly.
If you have the show in November or whatever at the end of October, you're kind of cramming a whole bunch of shows in close to like American Thanksgiving, Christmas time. It's like it just gets a little bit hectic at that time. So I think September is almost like the perfect time. I didn't mind. I think early October was all right too, but I think late September is probably a little better.
What I hope that means is that the reason I'm saying I hope that is the case, because it's always been historically that after Olympia, you have the European tour.
Right.
And I'm hoping that the European tour can extend that if we do have an extra 2 weeks of it, that more pros like Martin, like Terence, and all the Hosmer, well, I say Hosmer, he's from Europe. The Americans are more saying anyone that's out of Europe to take the opportunity and be part of that European tour. And if we are, what I'm hoping that happens is that we have this kind of European tour scheduled that we put out, so people can see straight away that here are the shows back to back, and they can plan 2 or 3 shows, giving the European fans a chance to see them, where it's very rare we'll get to see them unless it's the Arnold or Olympia. So that's what I'll be hearing. I'll be hearing the fact that there's a chance that, well, there's a chance. I'm hearing that it's going to be the end of September. Nothing confirmed, nothing's come out by the Olympia. It's just what the rumors have been saying so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal if it's end of September or early October. Personally, it's so close together that it's almost like it's not really a big deal, but it's a little better for sure, end of September. But I think that's good. I think that's the news for today. The chat seems pretty quiet. Not a lot of questions or anything to add to what we're saying. So I think we'll wrap there. Suki, any news are we going to have news on the weekend?
I hope so. Yesterday was a slow day. All of a sudden, overnight, 3 or 4 things just dropped in my inbox. So we just never know with these things. But as we've got Japan coming up, I hope we have a few more names drop in. And of course, Big Man Weekend the week after. So I'm sure I have been hearing some names at the moment, but I'm looking to get some more concrete information. So hopefully, we will get another one this weekend.
All right. Well, I'll wait for you to message me, and then we'll go from there.
That's how it works.
Okay, everybody. Hope you guys